they could make our voices do anything. Now, that is not a challenge for anyone to go do.
Somebody will do it.
I know, right? And
I mean, his name will probably be George.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Help me with hip hop. Let's get it right. Protect your patience. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with hip hop. Let's get it right.
Donna, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of talking about AI.
Or I'm tired of other people talking about it. I
mean,
I'm talking about it when I'm using it for something and being productive with it.
Yeah. But here's the thing is that even though you and I are bombarded with it nearly every day, not all of our listeners are. And there's probably a lot of things that they don't know that's happening around them that we probably should discuss. Even though you and I are like, oh, it's another conversation about AI. It's funny. I had a call today with a vendor, and he said he's gotten to the point now where he can't stand saying anything like AI powered. It's like it's so overused. Yeah. He doesn't even want to say it anymore.
Yeah, it's just you've got to get to a point where it's not the buzzword anymore, and I think we're there.
Yeah.
Or buzz. Now it's Gen AI. Oh, you're finally actually going to call it what it is? That doesn't change anything for me.
Yeah, just call it Jenny.
All right. Call it something.
Yeah. So we'll cover some of these things today and talk about things that are happening recently, especially since there's been a lot of things happening on the deep fake side. And you and I talked about deepfakes years ago.
Oh, I know.
And
we knew it was going to be a problem.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think one year we said that deepfakes was going to be one of the issues of the year because they were getting good. But that doesn't even compare to how good they are now.
Yeah. I mean, and to be able to tell, oh, I never said that. Well, here's a video of you saying it.
That's all I need my wife to have is the ability to,
I know.
to tell me I said something I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's interesting. But we'll go down this path today, have a kind of a free conversation. Not that you and I ever have a scripted conversation, but we'll have a free conversation about what we think about it, what we see in it. And maybe if there's time, we might talk a little bit about how we use it and some of the things that we look out for and try to keep ourselves safe. So before we dive into that, though, we want to remind everybody, the PriceSec Bootcamp is coming. And if you want to get involved in that by purchasing your tickets, you can go to pricesecbootcamp.com. It's going to be May 13 through 16 at the Evergreen Resort Conference Center in Stone Mountain Park.
Yep.
Stone Mountain, Georgia.
People starting to book now. You know, we've had all of the conversations and, you know, let me get my approvals and blah, blah, blah. So because we keep these seats very, very limited, if you're interested, go find out now. Because last year we had to close it before the early bird even ended.
Mm-hmm.
Or right as it ended, or somewhere right around there. I mean,
ran out of spots.
Yeah. So the good news is, in fact, we got a quote from an attendee that said what they really liked is they had been to other seminars and conferences, and you didn't get the one-on-one with the teachers, the experts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you didn't get that like you do where we're engaged with all of them. But the reason we're able to do that is we don't just go for, you know, let's, you know, do it cheap we want quality over quantity right now. We think that's hugely important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's not just information. It's truly education. And it's side-by-side education. Like, let's have a conversation about these things and talk about how we can make sure you're walking away with all the actionable steps possible so that you can go back and do these things.
Yeah. I mean, we help you build a plan for the next, 2-3 quarters out of things that you're going to work on, look into. We connect you with the people you need. We do all of that before you leave. It's definitely an intense time.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm exhausted. I don't even talk to anybody like for 2 days. And so definitely go to PriceTechBootcamp.com, or you can go to helpmewithhipaa.com, or you can go to CardenHQ.com or HIPAA4MSPs.com. We have all that stuff. So
yeah, we do. And if you need Donna's direct cell phone number, let me know. You can call her. She loves being called at midnight, ask questions.
No.
All right. Let's talk about some other things that are kind of spooky, though. And I don't know. Everybody may have heard about this by now, but we're going to assume that there are listeners who have no idea what DeepSeek is, or that even they understand what a deepfake is. But we're going to talk about.
Yeah, they probably heard about it, but that doesn't mean they understand what it is. I mean, it's crazy.
So we'll break it down, because I mean, I know we got tech people that listen, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're okay. Just hang in there." Not everybody's technical, so we'll get to all that, and then we'll talk about AI's big game moment.
Oh yeah, big game moment.
Yep.
I was pretty blown by it, but yeah, I was like, whoa. So anyway, this is cool. All right. So DeepSeek.
Yep.
Everybody heard about it because it caused the stock market to go crazy when it came out.
It did.
That was the big thing. But why did it cause the stock market to go crazy? And it's 2 reasons. And I'm not sure which one is the most important one. But for 2 reasons, it's huge news. One is the technology used for the chips, meaning the processors, the power for the computer brain, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There's NVIDIA, which is stocks going through the roof, and then it went off the roof. Plunged there for a while.
Good time to buy. Good time to buy.
Yeah, they made these chips, and we stopped exporting them to China because we didn't want them to be able to do the AI stuff we were doing without buying it from us or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were able to stockpile a bunch of them before that happened, and then they took some less powerful chips and kind of paired them up with those. So they were able to do these things with less processing power than what we've been doing here with like OpenAI and all of those others.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah. No, they were able to do it cheaper, and I'm talking much, much cheaper, like 94% cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're talking, what was it you said OpenAI invested in there to build their?
Yeah, I read that they invested $100 million to get the first models to market, and that DeepSeek was at $6 million.
Yeah.
So $94 million difference. That's a good bit. It's more than I make in a year.
Yeah. So that's one reason. And, but that really has to do with the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other reason. So I don't know, David, do you think that the equipment made that much? I mean, it hit NVIDIA kind of hard, but did it really make that much difference? Or is it the other thing?
It's probably the other thing.
All right. So you tell us about the other thing then. Open source.
It's made open source, which means that you have the ability to see the code, look at the code, audit the code. It also, for some people, open source means free.
Uh-huh.
So you can get that too. You can even download it if you wanted to. You can download it and run DeepSeek on your own hardware. Now, assuming you've got something decent, it doesn't have to be super beefy. But the more hardware you have, the faster model that you can run, or the one that has the more reasoning capabilities. But just the fact that you can run any type of AI, no matter how stupid it might be, but you can run any AI based on having something that's localized. In other words, it's running on your own computer, not even connected to the internet, and it'll run. That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. And that's huge. So you got, it runs on cheaper equipment and everybody can have access to it. So that is going to make a big difference. And we're going to see a lot of things happen because of it. But I haven't loaded it. I'm not loading it I'm not. What about you? I'm not.
I'm kind of letting the dust settle a little bit. Now, I did try to register an account early on while they were being attacked and DDoSed and everything else. So I couldn't register my account when all the buzz first happened. So I don't yet have an account. Haven't been on it. I probably will mess with it at some point, but it'll be once I have the time to put it on something that is fully disconnected from everything in my network, in my home, and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, being open source, nobody's saying that there's anything malicious in the code yet.
Yet.
But it is China, and honestly, they could probably leave the code perfectly fine, and there's still going to be a massive percentage of people that'll still put stuff in there they shouldn't put in there, even knowing it's going to go to China, even knowing they shouldn't do it, because they do it at OpenAI. They do it with ChatGPT. They put crap in there all the time they shouldn't put in there, because, you know, if you have any privacy and security concerns, you probably shouldn't be putting any of this stuff in AI.
Yeah. I mean, I at least, you know, we use ChatGPT for Teams, and, you know, now, you know, we're Google Workspace, but Gemini's out there, and I was like, I already have this, and it's still working better than Gemini. I'm not getting Gemini. Now Gemini's kind of catching up a little, and it's doing more cool stuff, but they're opening it up to all accounts, and you don't have to add on. But
well, let me say something about ChatGPT for Teams, because a lot of people don't realize this, is that the Teams version is the version that you can pay for.
Yeah.
And part of the service agreement is that they won't train the model on that data.
Yeah.
So
that's why
and if you're on the Teams version, then you have that. If you're on the regular paid version, you don't have that, or the free version.
I think there is a pro version that has it. But
yeah, the $200 a month one. Yeah.
The Teams version is the one that I found, and I mean, you know, we are finding it hugely helpful. I mean, it is making us more efficient. It is making us think of things that we wouldn't have. It's giving us new ways to get things done that, you know, so it analyzes data. I mean, just one of the reports, I was able to give it this massive amount of stuff we have in some spreadsheets and said, you know, analyze this and create me a report that tells me blah, blah, blah. Bam. And it's huge. It's making a massive amount of difference because now we can do more with the data.
Yeah.
But I'm not giving it to DeepSeek. You know, that's our whole issue here is what happens with the data. AI needs data, massive amounts of it. And it's always going to be looking for it because that's how we all learn is information. Well, at least the trick is, what is the information you're being taught with? And that's always the big discussion. So I did see where people were comparing them, and they had set up some really interesting tests to compare them 1-to-1. And I think that Deepfake did some things better, but overall, ChatGPT still won out as far as what it was able to provide, but it didn't fail. DeepSeek didn't fail. DeepSeek didn't fail. It didn't do badly. It just, I haven't seen it where it really failed anything other than if you ask it like what happened in Tiananmen Square in 1989 or whatever year that was.
Yeah.
If you ask it any of the stuff like that, it says, nope, nothing happened then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not able to answer that question.
Yeah. So it is not allowed to discuss any of those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, David? How do you think, I know everybody's still worried about, it's going to take all our jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're not good at your job, it might take your job.
Yeah. There's so many things. I think there's more that we don't know than we do because it's still early on. You think about the internet itself.
Yeah.
Imagine when we were 2 or 3 years into the internet.
Wow.
And then where we are today.
Wow.
Now imagine now we're 2 to 3 years into AI and what that's going to look like in the next 18 years.
Yeah. And it's where you want to even put, because generative AI, we're much further along in AI overall, but generative AI, that's where the difference has come into play. And where the internet became something that wasn't just a thing for the nerds to play with. We're at that place in both of them. So like the early 90s, late 80s, I want to say, from an internet perspective, for those of us who can remember it.
Yeah. I remember the first time I actually saw a piece of software run on the internet. I was just mind blown. Like, what? Like, this software is running
out
on
there?
The internet in a browser? What? Everybody just looks at it today and like, oh, that's normal. Why wouldn't you run your cloud applications in the cloud? That wasn't a thing initially. No. You're like, I'm running a piece of software without installing it on the computer? That's crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're in that place. And so generative AI, which is what is different. This is not just AI is now new. It's generative AI that's making these big differences today. And it's important for people to understand that. And that's where DeepSeek it lands. It's like super smart and it's handing it all out for all of us to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't find the story, but I know in one episode we discussed a case where some malware was distributed in an application because the criminals waited. They cultivated a developer. They had somebody work their way up into the approvals of OpenAI source, or not OpenAI, sorry, of open source applications. And there's a process, and then they were able to plant some malware in it.
Yeah. I hate to do what ifs, but let's say DeepSeek was fine for a long period of time. Let's say 3 years. Mm-hmm. Everybody is, we've looked at it. We've looked at the code. We've tested it. We've done this. We've done that. And for 3 years, all you hear is it's completely safe to use until the day it's not. How much damage do you think it could do before something pulled the plug on it?
Yeah.
It would be, what if OpenAI did that right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, at least with OpenAI, you're not integrating that code into your code. And you're calling an API and it's completely separate. But if you start integrating that code, think about Android. Android, pretty much a similar concept, except it was a mobile operating system, right? So, now we have how many flavors of Android? And then all the different vendors have their own version of it that they tweak just a little bit. But it's the same case, and who knows where this can go because it's a whole different world. It's not just a mobile operating system. It's not a device. It's thinking. It's figuring things out on its own. So I think it's something to keep an eye on. I was disturbed when I saw it was the #1 download on the app stores, the DeepSeek assistant.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was so shocking is how quickly that thing gained traction. It was unbelievably fast. We thought OpenAI was fast because, I mean, you know, it took, I think OpenAI had as many downloads in a month as it took like Facebook to get in 3 years.
Yeah.
I think it was something like that.
Yeah,
and then and then DeepSeek comes out and it's, you know, it's even faster. It's almost like you could say when something comes out, that's so yesterday, because literally it was so yesterday.
Well, you know, and I think a lot of it is, you know, we all now start to understand what value we get from ChatGPT and OpenAI. They taught us the value, which then DeepSeek is now taking advantage of. They're not having to teach us the value. They're just the shiny new object on the block, you know?
Yeah. It's always the trailblazer that has to do the most work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why
you have to cut all the weeds down and pave the road.
That's right. So with all these powerful things, that's where these deepfake tools are coming into play. And, And they, I mean, you don't have to have anything. They're free. You know, anybody can make these things. Now, granted, there's open source of this, and then there's high, very expensive of this, which I'm sure we'll get to in a minute. But, I mean, think about this. I was telling somebody the other day with our podcast episodes, you know, they could make our voices do anything. Now, that is not a challenge for anyone to go do.
Somebody will do it.
I know, right? And
I mean, his name will probably be George.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I just wanted to try. Okay, thank you. But if you look at all of those things, and then you take all the pictures that people have put out on for everybody to access, you got pictures and video. You can take that and make that be anything you want, saying anything you want. You know, it change their clothes, change their everything about them, and it will still make you believe. Did you try one of them, or you were testing one to try to figure out which one was the deep fake?
I've played with the audio deepfakes. I haven't played with video deepfakes. The audio deepfakes are pretty good. They are pretty good.
Yeah. So between the ability to generate the audio, which we kind of had around, but now the video, and now you're going to make AI even smarter in creating things, faster, able to run on cheaper devices. What's going to happen?
Yeah. Well, you know, again, if you think back at the internet, not every device could get on the internet initially. And then not everybody could take advantage of the different speeds initially. And so as each iteration comes out, it takes more and more resources and then different technologies and all that. But at some point it does, you know, level out, but everybody has access to the same amount of power. Well, even now, honestly, I got neighbors who don't have fiber. I've got fiber internet, and a guy, you know, 100 yards away still on cable modems.
And you're like, how are you doing that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one good thing is that they're trying to train AI to watch for itself and police. So you have the AI that's looking for the deep fake AI. And trying to figure it out. They already have, like, you know, teachers now have tools they run people's homework through to see if it's AI generated or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good those are. When they first came out, I tested those. Now we're talking a long time ago, like a year ago.
I know, in our world, it's a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was not good. I remember my wife tried something. and she took something she created in ChatGPT and ran it through there, and it said it was fine. And then she took something she wrote and ran it through there and said it was AI. And I was like, see, I told you it was a robot.
Yeah. So they are trying to have AI tools watch for these things and be able to notice these things, which will be great. We also have AI tools trying to do the cybersecurity work, to monitor for things and to stop things as they're happening, not just tell somebody, hey, you should look at that. So the laws can't keep up. It takes too long to get a law done. And if we don't police ourselves, it's not happening. And it's already been good enough to steal millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
In one time, they stole millions of dollars with deepfake video calls and those kind of things. So I don't anticipate you take what we just talked about with DeepSeek and you take this.
DeepSeek.
Man, my brain is not working. Oh, I know why. I was looking at VFX on the screen. But DeepSeek and its power to function where I can also have it to myself. And no one out on the cloud has any way of knowing what I'm doing with it. And then I take these deepfake tools and I can run them on top of that. And now I'm creating an entire digital army. And it is absolutely terrifying for people like us who can look at this every day and know what's really happening. And I think that's why we work so hard at what we do, is to get people to understand computers are not necessarily your friend.
Yeah, it's a tool like anything else. Yeah. You can give me a hammer, I could build something with it, or I could knock somebody upside the head with it.
That's right. It's one or the other, man. Or I could not be able to build something with it, knock somebody upside the head, or, try to build something and make something that collapses. There's so many reasons that this is something, as our understanding of what it's capable of grows, which we don't even know what it's capable of yet. It doesn't know yet. I don't know. There's great things from it. Don't get me wrong. It's great stuff. Amazing stuff. But then the downsides are just massive.
Yeah.
And you're not going to stop it.
No, not at all. The thing that concerns me about this, like anything else really, is the malicious use of it and the scamming of people. Creating deepfake videos, creating the deepfake voices. I mean, we're already seeing cases where people get a phone call, they think it's their kid asking for money or a loved one. Now it's going to change from that to videos. Somebody shows you a video of that. Yeah. Or, you got the more vulnerable people, the elderly people that did not grow up around this technology. I bet you if I asked my parents about deepfake, DeepSeek, deep anything else, they're going to look at me sideways. They have no idea.
Okay, that's your assignment for next week, David. I want you to ask them, see what they say. That's what we're going to have to deal. I want to hear what their thoughts are.
Yeah, I'm going to interview my parents on it. It'll be a short interview because they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But that's what concerns me, because they can be scammed in so many different ways. And imagine if you are presented with a video of yourself saying that you gave somebody permission to do something. And then you're like, well, I don't remember doing that, but maybe I did. It could be, oh my gosh, man, it could just be so problematic.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's so many reasons to fear it, but there's also so many reasons to get excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch the Super Bowl pregame stuff, which is to me the pregame and the commercials are always the best part. Almost always. Rarely is the game the best part. And it certainly wasn't last. But if you haven't seen this, I'm sure it's out on the internet. You need to go see it. David hasn't seen it. I have. And it was Fox Sports did a tribute to Jimmy Johnson. Most people know him as the Cowboys football coach back in the 80s, or 90s with Troy Aiken, and they won the championships and were one of the really dominant teams back then. And he was at the University of Miami. And so, long history. But what was crazy is that they took all this video and audio and pictures of him and he told his own story, but it looked like him when he was in college, wearing his college football uniform, talking about what happened in college. And then he's walking on the field wearing the shirt from his first coaching job. And I mean, just on and on and on with him discussing what, all the different, as he moved through his career and all the different things he's done. And it was him at that time. And I remember watching him, he was well known for his hair never getting messed up. And that was always the thing. And so I remember watching him then, and it was who it looked like. I mean, it was like seeing him on a video again, but it's him. I mean, it's crazy. He was talking now, but looking like he did then. And that was just insane to see how well it was. And he started it himself. Then it goes into this, and then it ends with him interacting with his college version of him in his football uniform, handing the football between them. And it was insane. It was beautiful how it was done. And, that just whoever came up with it and put it together, that was amazing. So, imagine being able to do that with your family members that you've got, information, you've got video and photos of, and you can bring them back to life. And a lot of people are all about doing that.
Yeah. Can you imagine, though, what the entertainment industry could become if you took your favorite movie and you could be the star actor of that movie?
Okay. First of all, I don't know what you're thinking you're going to do, but it worries me.
I mean, I guess what brought it to mind is I saw somebody that did one, and it wasn't well done, but it was done well enough to where you could see the possibilities. And it was the fight scene in The Matrix. But it was this guy, all the movements though of Keanu Reeves was there. Like you could see it all. Like it kept all that movement right. But it was his face and his emotions played out on his face and everything else. And I was like, that's pretty neat. Like if you wanted to know what it would look like if you were playing in the Matrix movie or Star Wars or Marvel movies or whatever, you could be that guy.
Yeah, it's great. And the other thing, a suggestion was that the AI generated sports legends playing each other.
Yeah.
So they didn't even live in the same, time frame, but we have enough information about them that we can have them play against each other.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
If they can do that within video games as well, it would just change the whole video game scene.
Madden's going to have that. Madden's going to have
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great things to come when it comes down to AI and what it can bring. There are a lot of terrifying things to come. Mm-hmm. And just being aware is really all we're asking from folks. Just be aware of what's out there, what it can do, keep your guard up on those things that can be bad. Use the things that it can be good for. Yes. Because I do think that if you don't use these things in your business, in your practices, then it's going to hinder your ability to keep up with those who do use that.
And it's rapid, the difference. I mean, I will not mention any names, but people on my team are not good with change.
I can mention their names.
And, I try to get them to use the, Chat GPT, got it all set up, gave them examples, I've created all these custom GPTs that are designed to do that specific thing. It already knows all the details. You don't have to tell it. It's a thing we do. You just go to that one, do. And finally got unnamed individual involved. And it's like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Does it rhyme with Arla?
Might. It's that same thing of, you remember when you got two screens? I don't need two screens. I'm fine. I mean, why would you need, oh my God, I'm only working with one screen.
Yeah. Now I have one screen and I'm like, I can't function.
I know. It's like I have part of my ability to work is gone because I can't see 15 things at one time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we even have portable multiple screens now. You got one, I got one. I mean, we have them for that reason. I have to have that second screen. But
yeah, at least.
Yeah, I know. I've never gone crossed over like you to as many as you use because then I'll be in trouble for sure. But I do see so many people that are like, I don't. But it makes you the productivity gains once you start to understand. It's you, and I'm not saying use it to do your job. I'm saying use it to be your assistant. I have one geared for the podcast now. I can go in and say, here's all the things I want to talk about. Organize that for me. Give me some bullets. Give me some, ideas for a title. Do all of this. And it's still taking us. I mean, we're still doing the podcast, but it's saving me literally hours a week because I can give it, 3 or 4 stories that I read and say, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to pull this from here, this from here. And it does it in seconds. It's crazy. So
indeed,
if you have not been learning about it, then David's right. You're going to be left behind. But also, don't just dive in with both feet and start doing everything and not realize there is danger here. You've got security dangers. You've got access danger. Where's my data going? And it's a long list of things that you have to be careful with. And don't just take what anybody tells you anymore. You got to trust but confirm. Trust but verify. Whatever you want to say.
And I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about this at the PrivacySec Boot Camp.
Yeah, it's on the agenda, which is the agenda. The full agenda is out there on the website if you want to check it out. Go ahead. Go out there. See if you can put together one of those 4-day camps. Ha!
Yeah, just ask ChatGPT. It'll throw everything together for you.
Yeah, it'll help you. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that we've made our point. Now, whether anybody's listening to us or not at this point, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, folks. That is our take on AI and all this deep stuff. And I think Donna threw out a couple of other deep things we weren't even supposed to talk about. But share this with somebody that you know and that can use it, because there's a lot of folks out there who need to know about this. So be sure to share the knowledge with others. Be sure to check out the HIPAA Bootcamp or PrivacySecBootcamp.com. Get your tickets now while they're there. And for Donna and myself, remember that HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. the show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.